So let's all go to work, stop complaining, and then go home, have a drink.
You're paid to complain.
Did you hear what he just fucking said?
Have a drink.
Go to work, stop complaining, go home, have a drink. Do you know why alcohol is legal, my friends? Do a little deep dive into this. Alcohol is legal because it lets people get fucked up so that they can't organize and revolt while they're not at work.
Yep.
That's why it's culturally normal to go home and drink after you go to work so that you don't unionize.
Yes.
That's what drinking's for. That's
Exactly.
why alcohol is legal, even though it's more dangerous than like most drugs.
Yeah.
It's the Casey and Zoe thing.
Okay, look at that. Look at that woker facing
The
a
wolves are
revolt. That sounds
faking a
interesting.
revolt?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I don't hear
Jordan
about
understood something
That stupid
that most
asshole.
people today don't.
Oh yeah, I hate
People
this guy.
need to get away from all the politics and division, whether it's with sports, comedy, music, or whatever. The majority
I
of
feel like this is one of the biggest things that's created so much of the like horror and dissonance in our culture is this idea that you can get away from politics. You can't. The world is ruled by politics.
Yeah. Also,
Like-
he said we use comedy to get away from politics. Have you ever gone to a comedy show?
Yeah.
Good
And
try.
especially a comedy show with a right-wing stand-up. It is not apolitical, I can assure you. And there is no, it's not, apolitical isn't really a thing. Like, I know, I guess you can say, like, you know, like a rock laying on the ground is not political. And it's like, sure, I get that. But, like, generally speaking, the only way to, like, get away from politics in your life is to become an apathetic soldier of the status quo.
Right.
Basically.
Right.
You know, it's you have to deal with it. These we have governments that run our nations that with policies that dictate how things function and what you are and are not allowed to do, or what you're allowed to do without someone coming with a bat and beating you.
Yeah.
You know, so you can't get away from politics. You can't.
You
have
truly
to deal
cannot.
with it.
Every which way you live your life is political.
Is political.
The way that you're allowed to or not allowed to live your life is political.
Yeah, thinking people should like be less focused on politics is a political position.
of us just want a diversion to turn off all the noise. But when large companies start fighting the culture wars and ignoring the mission, which is business, people...
I love that they're saying capitalism has gone woke, but yet that for them is not a mark against capitalism.
Yeah.
If capitalism has gone woke, which it hasn't, as they claim, then shouldn't that be for you a mark against capitalism? Shouldn't you be questioning, like, oh, fuck, if capitalism leads us to this woke insanity, maybe there's something
Wrong with
toxic about capitalism.
Well, and also...
But they don't, because they're liars.
But the wokes that they're criticizing are almost exclusively anti-capitalist.
Yeah.
So which is it? Is
Yeah.
capitalism woke or are anti-capitalists woke? Who's woke?
Whoever they don't like that day.
start looking for alternatives. It's that simple. And good leaders understand that. They know it's not worth sinking into the woke muck just to make a handful of people happy. No one's ever happy. And no one ever respects people that cave. Today, the streaming service Netflix took a stand, putting out a memo to its employees, 11,000 of them, saying they aren't going to take tiny little stands over every single piece of content they put out. They're not going to cave to the left, who complain about this
They're not
comedian
going to take tiny little stands?
I want to look this up.
Yeah.
or this actor.
I don't know about this
They're just
one.
going to go about their business. And if you're not happy with it, well, maybe you should find yourself a new job. Quote, not everyone will like or agree with everything on our service. While every title is different, we approach them based on the same set of principles. We program for a diversity of audiences and tastes, and we let viewers decide what's appropriate for them versus having Netflix censor specific artists.
That's
And again-
fine. Who cares?
The activist, I mean, this is clearly a reference to Dave Chappelle's special.
Of course.
And the activists who spoke out about Dave Chappelle's transphobia did not ask for his specials to be censored or taken down.
Nope.
They never. They had a list of demands, and that was not on their list of demands.
Nope.
This is more straw manning, more false framing, and I fucking hate it.
Yep.
For voices. If you'd find it hard to support our content, Netflix may not be the best place for you. What an amazing idea. Letting the viewers decide. Thank you.
You know who else should decide? Womb havers.
It's about time companies started treating us like adults. This memo was a direct response to some whiny employees who just a few months ago
There we go.
were protesting and crying.
Wow, you're such a genius. How'd you figure that one out, Casey?
It's a bit of a cosmic brain.
How'd you figure it out? It was about Chappelle. Wow. So also, this is like fucking old news.
Yeah. Well, this I don't know how new. I don't know.
This is from 3 days ago.
It is okay. I don't.
Get new news, Fox News.
Over the company airing a Dave Chappelle special. All because he made some jokes they didn't like.
What jokes?
No, not because he made jokes that I didn't like. Because he told lies and he misrepresented science, and he propagandized on behalf of J.K. Rowling, a passionate transphobe. Completely misrepresented what she was saying. Claimed she was just trying to say gender is real, whatever the fuck that means. And no, like J.K. Rowling is terrified of trans people assaulting her in a bathroom, even though that never fucking happens. And she wants to take away trans people, especially young trans people's rights to express themselves. So fuck her and fuck Dave Chappelle for pretending like that's not what she was saying and misleading his fan base with his fucking wrong statements.
Continue.
Cancel people that are more powerful than me. You cancel J.K. Rowling. My God, J.K. Rowling.
Canceled? How?
She's not
What does that
canceled.
mean? She's a multi-billion, like...
They are literally making a new Harry Potter movie, like, as we speak.
They're still making Harry Potter movies. She can still get a book published whenever she wants. How is she canceled?
Casey, she wasn't invited to the reunion party.
People wrote mean tweets about her.
Flash told women to shut up.
How am I supposed to live through this?
Loser.
Like, I don't know, Dave. Wipe your tears on your piles of cash, you whiny fuck.
Rowling wrote all the Harry Potter books by herself. She sold so many books, the Bible worries about her.
True.
And they canceled her because she said in an interview, and this is not exactly what
this
she
is-
said, but effectually, she said...
Not effectually. This is where he's propagandizing.
This
I'm
is
glad they
fake.
showed this clip.
Yeah, yeah,
because
me
this is one of
too.
the biggest fucking lies he tells in that special.
Yeah.
Gender was a fact.
Gender is a fact.
And then the trans community got mad as they started calling her...
Okay, so this is his complete misframing. That is not all she said.
No.
She wrote a fucking anti-trans manifesto.
Yeah.
This billionaire woman who can do whatever she wants with her time can choose any toxic aspect of society to attack. Her priority is trans people wanting to just be themselves.
Yeah, but that gets in the way of her womanhood. Isn't that so sad?
Well, and let's talk about
Did you know
that
that
too.
two things can't exist at once?
Because this is, another stupid point that both JK and Dave made of like, well, guess what? Like, the things, women have to deal with, and obviously they mean cis women, but they refuse to use that term. But they're like, women have to deal with this tough stuff. Like, wake up call, cis ladies of Earth. You know what has an even tougher time in society than a cis woman? A trans woman or a trans man. They're like the most like fucking put upon, violently attacked, killed in the streets. And I'm supposed to like think that's comparable to like the microaggressions you get from your husband? Like, don't get me wrong, sexism is a fucking plague on the earth, for sure.
Yeah.
And women have been subjugated and oppressed in horrible ways throughout history. And you know who's got it worse than cis women? Trans people.
Yeah.
For sure. So if your concern is about like social oppression and shit, like you should be concerned about trans people.
Also, two groups can be oppressed.
Yes.
At the same time.
Yes.
It's not a competition.
Absolutely.
So shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and I obviously wouldn't even say that, except that they're complaining about like, oh, think about what women go through. Think about what cis women
I
deal
do.
with. I do.
I am a cis woman.
I think about all of it. Dave and JK are the kind of people who only think about trans people because they're obsessed because of some emotional hang up. With Dave, it seems like his stories he shared about like he's been attracted to trans women at clubs and then found out they were and thought they were cis women, found out they were trans and then was grossed out. You know, like he's just uncomfortable with it.
That's such a stupid media trope too.
Yes.
Yeah, dumb.
I didn't even know what that was. But I know that trans people make up words to win arguments.
They start calling her a TERF. I know people like, and I didn't even know what that word was. Hey, Dave, you ever think of fucking looking up words? When you don't know what a word is? Or you just assume...
That's not funny for comedy.
You just assume that the people made it up.
That's not funny for comedy.
And never check Google or a dictionary. Is that your move, Dave? For real? And I'm supposed to, like, respect you as a public intellectual? This is just
He's like,
his jokes are a joke.
Yeah.
Some of these Netflix employees.
He said some really funny and insightful things.
I loved Dave Chappelle.
I loved him.
He said so many insightful things
He's
about
been
race.
so insightful.
Chappelle's show had a huge impact on me and my perspective on race in the world. A big reason why I'm so now currently concerned about racism on Earth and white supremacy on Earth is because of the work of Dave Chappelle. And then for him to turn around, and like same thing with JK. Like JK speaks to like racism in her books in a weird way, where she's also like racist about other things. But like definitely, you know, the picture that's painted by the Harry Potter books of a world where, you know, non-magic people are called mudbloods by bigots, and like it paints a you know, accurate picture of the dynamics of bigotry, and that's good for kids to learn about. And that had an impact on me as a young person too. And just to see these people who used to be forces for progress and greater understanding and insight, to see them turn into these fucking pathetic, misinformation peddling ideologues is fucking. It's a bummer.
It's like once people who are a little out of touch are presented with intersectionality, they shut down.
Yeah.
And they double down on their own beliefs that were at one time progressive, as if they had been right all along, and there's no wiggle room. There's no room for any other sort of idea.
Yeah.
And that's really upsetting.
Yeah, and speaking of that, they're also both great examples. Both JK and Dave are great examples of how money can make a previously smart, rational person into a stupid, crazy asshole.
Yeah.
You know, they're just completely insulated and isolated by their wealth. They don't have to deal with the real world, ever. I'm sure they're
There's
both...
no laws for rich people.
Yeah,
There's fines.
Right, exactly. They get to do whatever they want. They get to break whatever they want. And I'm sure they're all surrounded by sycophants who tell them they're fucking geniuses all day long and jerk them off. And yeah, like, these people are not the people to listen to for insight. They're completely out of touch. They are scientifically illiterate, and no one should listen to them.
Generally, people who have the best insight on any topic are the people who are oppressed by a certain group. So if you want to talk about whiteness, ask a black person. If you want to talk about sexism, ask a woman. If you want, you know...
Transphobia, ask a trans
person. It's generally how it goes, is that the most trustworthy sources of information on oppression come from the oppressed.
Yeah.
That's just generally how it works.
Also, what's up, Evan Yeager TV? Welcome back.
Hi.
Offended.
It's okay to laugh, but you're sparking hate conversation.
The problem is that as trans people, we have very limited rights, all right?
We have a whole piece of content on Netflix called Disclosure that is, you know...
Disclosure was great. Everyone watched Disclosure.
For trans people, by trans people, that explains how comedy and content such as Dave Chappelle's is harmful.
You don't have a right in this.
And credit to Netflix that that's up there too.
Yeah.
For sure. And like, I think always when it comes to matters of free speech, we should be thoughtful and considerate in how we approach them. I don't think the answer is to take down Dave Chappelle's specials, and that neither do trans activists don't think that's the answer either. So this is all straw manning, and the point is, they just wanted to draw attention to trans voices, which they accomplished with their protest. And now Fox News has their panties in a bunch over them daring to protest something that they didn't think was worth protesting.
If Casey and I thought silencing or censoring stupid bullshit takes and ideas was effective, we wouldn't have our show.
Right. Absolutely.
We're literally watching stupid bullshit takes as we speak. We're giving this man a platform.
Yeah.
But we are dissecting stupid bullshit ideas in hopes that the world will see that his ideas are stupid and bullshit.
Yeah, because censorship is not a real solution.
No.
Because the ideas can still spread. You have to make a better argument and change hearts and minds.
Country to not be offended. If you don't want to work for a company, find a new job. These people were trying to twist.
And also, fuck anyone who ever in any context says, like, just find a new job. Just go get another job. Just go down to the job store and spend your job money on a new job. Getting a job is hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially in the context of today, yes.
Generally speaking. And most people have, like, big high pay. I've had a big high paying job. It wasn't because I, like, went out and found it.
Yeah, someone like recommended.
It's because I had like a good reputation and someone reached out to me. Like it was only because I had a friend of a friend who I like went to high school with. Getting jobs is hard and random and chaotic. And
college degrees don't guarantee employment anymore.
Yes, and to just casually spout off like, "Well, just get another job." It's just like that.
If I'm like, "Oh, like my ideas." Hit the road.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, so I just don't need to listen to you about anything else ever again.
Yeah.
If that's your prescription, okay, good. Just okay, your brain doesn't work. Good to know.
The boss's arms into getting their way. And they didn't care if the company ended up having a worse product or less revenue. All they cared about was forcing their lack of sense of humor on the rest of us.
No.
And again, he's totally lying. They didn't want to take down Dave's specials. They had a list. They had an explicit list of demands that they published before the protest. And take down Dave Chappelle's special or never let him have another special. Neither of those things were on the list.
No.
So this is all just complete fucking propaganda lies. This guy's a piece of shit.
Also, like, we're hilarious. And that shit wasn't funny.
Yeah.
It's not a lack of sense of humor. It's a stupid idea of what humor is.
Well, no joke built on lies is ever going to be funny unless you're too ignorant to know it's a lie.
The truth is hilarious. So.
Yes.
But Netflix, they couldn't care less. They're telling their employees, we're not picking sides. You can go out and fight in the culture war if you want, but if it keeps you from doing your job, go work somewhere else.
So easy.
It's all culture
so
war.
Easy.
Also, all Fox News does is culture war. So to talk about like, oh, if you want to go fight in the culture war, it's your whole channel, Fox News.
That's literally all you do.
It's literally all you do, you scumbags.
No, but it doesn't count because they're the right wingers. Get it right, like correct.
Yeah, so I get it.
If you don't want to watch Dave Chappelle, watch something else. You don't have to keep me from watching it.
No one tried to keep you from watching it.
Stop watching
Jesse.
Try again.
Sweet Jesse, sweet simple Jesse. Is this serious? Is it just complete fucking lies? I have to assume this guy's just a complete fucking liar.
They all are.
Also, is he on drugs? Is he on coke? What's with his glassy eyes? Look at his. Maybe it's just the lighting.
His pupils are too small for coke.
Okay, you're right. You're right.
As a Republican, I disagree. I would never lie about anything. The only real liar is Fauci, is what I would say about a Republican.
Indeed. And welcome back, OS Music.
Yeah. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
It's smart corporate business. We put it out there, and then you can watch whatever. Remember when Major League Baseball wanted to make a political statement last year by moving their All-Star game out of Georgia?
I literally thought that said Thrust Park.
Because of a fake news story about a
welcome to the Hump Dome
voting bill? Well, they ended up moving to Colorado, where voting laws are actually stricter. But that didn't matter. It was just for show. And Atlanta, Georgia.
And make no mistake, by the way, worth noting that if in the wake of putting up Dave Chappelle's new special, there had been some drastic drop. I mean, they have had a drop in subscribers. Netflix has been losing subscribers. But if there had been like a radical drop, like if, a quarter of their users all canceled within a week of that Dave Chappelle special, do you know what Netflix would have done? They would have taken it down.
Yeah, because this is about money, my friends.
Because it's capitalism. It's about profits. If the only reason they keep up or take down anything is because they think it'll make the money. That's it.
The only reason Mr. Potato Head became Potato Head is so that they can sell to a wider range of people. It has nothing to do, this whole like woke capitalism thing that they're fear-mongering about, it doesn't exist. Capitalism is not woke. No. Capitalism is interested in marketing and how they can make a bigger profit.
That's it.
So what they do is they pander to a wider audience of people. And so more people will give these people money because they think these companies have great values.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with values and everything to do with making more money.
Yeah, because LGBTQ parents of all kinds, they have a lot of money to spend these days compared to how they used to, which is good.
Because they can get married now, too.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Once the gays got married, they had more money. Isn't that crazy?
Easier to adopt, easier to do. You know, what's the term for like if like a lesbian couple having some surrogate? You know, there's so many new avenues. So there's more money that they have to spend on kids' toys, and the makers of Mr. Potato Head were like, hey, maybe we can sell a few more potato heads if we do this. Also, it was promotion. It was free marketing because the moment they did it, then all the right-wingers freaked out. So they get a bunch of free promotion on Twitter and everywhere of just right-wingers going, Potato Head without a pronoun? No.
Also, I hadn't thought about an M&M until they gave the girl new shoes. Yes. I literally forgot M&Ms existed.
It's very effective marketing. H Bomber Guy over on YouTube has a great video about it.
Yeah.
I think it's called Woke Brands. It's far more thoughtful and insightful than Jesse Waters' dumb fucking babbling.
Yeah.
And the other thing worth noting is before all that, we're getting rid of the Mr. on Potato Head hullabaloo. Mr. Potato Heads weren't exactly flying off the shelves.
Yeah.
It's an old brand. It's not very popular. It was clearly a move to see if they could bring it back into the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
With a name change. Because anything, like if they were like, Mr. Potato Head, now with 3 arms, no one fucking cares. Or like, now with an extra briefcase he can get, like... There was nothing to do to the toy. It's just it's a very old world toy. Literally, the first Mr. Potato Head was just pieces to stick in a real potato.
That's how old this toy is. Potato.
Okay, you were supposed to literally, it was for like poor kids who are like, all I've got to play with is a potato. You know, like that's who it was for. It was for poor kids who played with potatoes to make their potatoes a little more fun. It's an old fucking thing, and they were trying to give it a marketing boost, and it worked. It definitely got a lot more people talking about Potato Head, and but all this fear mongering is bullshit.
All right, let's see what else this fuck has to say.
Georgia lost out on millions in revenue, and Major League Baseball lost out on the ratings, recording their second worst rating number of all time. When politics gets into America's favorite pastime, it's way past time to turn the channel. Hey, look at Disney. They stuck their neck out for kindergarten teachers to talk to 6-year-olds about sex and transsexuals. Huge mistake.
Transsexuals is an outdated term. Good try, though.
I'll leave it to not only Jesse went to Chinatown and made a bunch of racist jokes.
Oh, this is the Chinatown guy.
Oh, yeah, it's the same piece of shit.
Oh, any of you who are here who don't know about this fucking piece of shit. I didn't realize this was him.
Years ago, he did a feature where he went to Chinatown and just made a bunch of racist jokes.
Like blatantly racist. Yeah. Not even like pretend racist. Not Fox News racist. No, he full on. It was bad.
Yeah, full on like 1960s English sketch comedy racism.
Like making jokes about eye shapes and stuff. Like bad. He was bad.
Inappropriate, but it was a horrific business.
And he still has a job.
Yeah.
And now Florida's stripping Disney of all the special treatment they get in Orlando. Netflix isn't making the same mistake. And neither did Spotify.
Until next week when they do something you don't like, and then you're going to be talking about how Netflix is evil again. Again, just day to day, what the fuck ever.
I bet this piece of shit loved Squid Game.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like at any time now, like Netflix is going to put up some new special that'll be like very lefty and focused on left issues, and then Fox News will be talking about how Netflix is evil again. It's just fucking insufferable.
Yeah, he does.
Remember the mob went after Spotify's most popular podcast guy, Joe Rogan? Spotify got
He's
a
not
whole
the
lot
most
of heat.
popular podcast guy anymore. The most popular podcast is now like pooponmybutt.com. It was like something so fucking stupid and irrelevant, and it passed Joe Rogan.
Maybe after this we should watch this insane new clip of Joe Rogan I saw today.
Yeah.
To fire their biggest revenue driver, but the head of Spotify stood his ground and told
They
his
didn't.
employees he wasn't caving.
They
saying
didn't
this.
fire him.
While I strongly condemn what Joe Rogan has said, and I agree with his decision to remove past episodes from our platform, I realize some will want more. And I want to make one point very clear. I don't believe that silencing Joe is the answer.
So Spotify said we're not gonna fire him, and you're freaking out about it? Like, also, this is all old news.
Yeah.
He's only brought up old news.
Well, and also, like, the percentage of people who want Joe Rogan to be completely removed is, like, so small.
Yeah. Like,
like
there were some
almost
people
nobody.
who left Spotify. Like, I think Joni Mitchell, Brene Brown, a couple people who had podcasts on Spotify. And that's also their decision. Whatever. Do what you want to do. If you don't want to be on the same platform as Joe Rogan, sure. But none of them, in any of their essays they've written about it as they were leaving, were like, take Joe Rogan down. It's like,
No.
I just don't want to sit at the table with him right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's their choice, and that's fine. So I don't understand what this whole cancel shit is about. He didn't get canceled. Spotify literally said, we're not canceling him. And everyone's like, Joe Rogan's canceled.
Yeah, because it's a meaningless. That's the thing about cancel culture. It's just meaningless. It's been used to refer to so many radically disparate incidents. It's meaningless.
It's also stupid.
It's like if the word cat could refer to like any animal. Like
Yeah.
it's like that. It's that accurate of a term.
Yeah.
Leaders don't cave. They pause,
Looking at a
they
bird,
reflect,
it's a cat.
and then they do what's best after careful consideration. But these corporate leaders are stuck with a younger generation that just feels so entitled.
Spotify and Netflix saying I'm not gonna fire someone is the revolt against woke. God. God.
to getting
A little hyperbolic,
Yeah,
guys.
just a bit.
Come on.
their way. If one thing goes wrong, or if one thing makes the slightest person a bit uncomfortable, they launch a corporate jihad.
The slightest
Joe Rogan-
person.
You're uncomfortable with this,
Yeah.
and you're launching a public mainstream media attack. Like, it's just incredible. This whole modern cultural theme of people being like, I'm so offended how people get offended. I'm so fucking sick of it. It makes me want to scream my ass into space every time someone makes this argument, and it's rampant. I see it every fucking day I go on social media. Everyone posts this shit of like, oh, people get so offended these days. You're offended. You're offended about people getting offended. What the fuck?
Actually put it on his podcast this way this week. Watch.
A friend of mine who's an employer, she employs people, and she was saying,
A friend of mine who's an employer. She employs people.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks
Very
for the
clear.
context.
Very clear.
It you know, and not to be nitpicky, but that sort of gives you a hint on who his audience is.
Yes.
If his normal rhetoric is to say my employer friend who employs people,
Yeah.
it just gives you a little hint on who's listening and who might need that extra little bit of clarification.
that like some of her employees are saying, I need a mental health day today. She's like, you're not sick. Get the to work.
Right.
What are you talking? You want to get paid for this mental health day? Show the up. We're not talking about your parents just died in a car accident. No, you have a high level of anxiety today. You know.
So he's pushing this idea that mental illness is not legitimate illness.
Great.
Vilifying the mentally ill.
We love that.
Which is really fucked up. Yeah.
I'd love for him to have a little anxiety attack. I'd love it.
I'm sure Joe probably deals with anxiety. He's just he gets to do whatever he wants now. He's
Right, 'cause
been a
he has-
millionaire
he's
for
a
years
bunch
and
of money.
years. He was like a TV star like at a young age. Like he hasn't had a real problem in a very long time.
Yeah, honestly.
And he speaks from that privilege. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's what defines his worldview. He's just an isolated, insulated, privileged dumbass. He calls himself stupid. He goes on his own show and says, "I'm stupid. No one listen to me." And then all the stupids are like, I like this guy.
They were like, me too.
Yeah.
No one listens to me.
Yeah.
What's this Roe versus Wade thing? I saw it in the news and I need a mental health day. F you. Show up at work. Show up at work and work harder.
You can get a mental health day.
I hope someday. I mean, I don't actually hope. I hope Joe Rogan gets transferred to an alternate universe just for him, where there's a law that if like a crab ever crawls up in a guy's ass and gets stuck in there, no one can help them remove it. And then I hope that a crab crawls up in Joe Rogan's ass and gets stuck in there, and he has to live the rest of his life in that universe with a crab stuck in his ass. And then I hope when he turns on Spotify, there's another podcaster named Ro Jogan who says like, "Oh, these fucking people who complain about having a crab stuck in their ass, go to work." That's my wish for Joe Rogan. Fuckface.
That was good. That was
like, no
great.
wonder a Roe v. Wade the Roe v. Wade leak doesn't disturb you, Joe. You don't have a uterus, you stupid fuck. Maybe you'd be more disturbed if you did.
The Joe Rona experience.
So fucking stupid.
I got your link. Don't worry. And it's called the Joe Rona experience. I'm excited.
If someone dies, not if Hillary loses. The Chinese, they're trying to take over the world. Don't take mental health days because they use the wrong pronoun. This is
no, they just sleep in dog cages in China. Like, what the fuck? The way that capitalists glorify the labor exploitation that takes place in China as if it's this, like, bastion of good work ethic is disgusting. And anyone who says that should never be listened to anyone else ever again for the rest of time.
Also, once again, nitpicky, but when you say the Chinese are trying to take over the world,
yes,
that is a horrible way to use your language if you have a platform like this.
Yep.
If you say the Chinese government has interest in taking over the world, all right, you get a pass.
Or you could say every single capitalist is trying to take over the world.
Well, every single capitalist has taken over the world.
They have taken over the world.
Yeah.
You could say rich people own the world, own and operate it, and make the rules, and it's an oligarchy. You could say that, and it would be more accurate.
This guy's a piece of shit, and he is super racist against Asian people, and we've seen it in action.
Yeah.
So just him saying that really gives me a shitty taste in my mouth.
He has a history of racism, specifically against Asian people.
Competitive world. Americans can't afford to go soft. Here's Elon Musk on that.
I think there will be some very strong companies coming out of China. There's just a lot of super talented, hardworking people in China that are
sleeping in dog cages.
Strongly believe in manufacturing, and they won't just be burning the midnight oil; they'll be burning the 3 a.m. oil. So
isn't that cool that they never do anything but work?
Isn't that
cool?
Fun and cool?
Oh, can you imagine spending an entire lifetime laboring nonstop all through the night until you die? Oh, so cool. So admirable.
Yeah. Respectable. That's the real way.
This fucking privileged fuck.
Also,
who got money from his
believe
family to start his shit, and he fucking exploits his laborers and treats them like trash, and then he wants to tell people to work harder. Fuck yourself into space, you piece of shit.
He's trying to.
Yeah, right, he is.
Yes, I also really hate that we've gotten 2 clips of Elon Musk in less than 10 minutes.
Well, he's one of their new fucking their new sweethearts.
Right, because they're trying to pander to him because he bought Twitter, or he's trying to buy Twitter.
They won't even leave the factory type of thing. Whereas in America, people are trying to avoid going to work at all.
We're in an economic war with the Chinese.
In America, people are trying to avoid going to work at all. That's not true, because when that happens, most of us starve.
Yeah.
So, good try, generalizing a group of people and scaring people about welfare. That was cool. Thanks, Elon Musk. Fuck you.
Well, I guess that's what leftists get for talking about work-life balance.
Right. Because we want to, be able to have time to smile. I got fired from a job for being too smiley. I was too happy to be there, so they fired me.
I got repeatedly talked to at a job working at a shoe store because I apparently was not smiley enough.
Wow.
And I didn't greet the customers enough. Now, for me, when I walk into a store, if a fucking associate comes at me like, "Welcome, man, can I help you find anything?" I'm like,
I'm like, please get away.
Leave me alone. And I feel like that's how most people feel, especially in Los Angeles, and especially on fucking trendy as fuck Melrose, where the store was. But the really hilarious thing is that the manager would constantly bring me in and be like, "Oh, you have to be, friendlier and say hello more and be more talkative and all these things and project the image that Adidas wants it to be associated." Blah, blah, blah. I was #1 in sales.
Right, yeah.
Didn't matter.
Yeah.
Didn't matter because it's not really about it's like even and I don't think this manager was doing this intentionally. I think she's just so culturally programmed.
Yeah.
That it doesn't even it's just like it's a reflex for her.
Right.
But it's just like getting the most sales was not enough. You have to be obedient. You have to act like it's fucking fun to be exploited for your labor.
Yeah.
It's fun to go back to the stockroom 10 times in a row so some motherfucker can try on every half size because they refuse to let you measure their foot. Like, it's like, ugh.
Going back to do more labor for the same pay.
This lazy corporate culture war is going to make us lose this economic war. So we hope more companies follow in Netflix's footsteps.
The culture war is going to make us lose the economic
business of America is business. So let's all go to work, stop complaining, and then go home, have a drink.
You're paid to complain.
Did you hear what he just fucking said?
Have a drink.
Go to work, stop complaining, go home, have a drink. Do you know why alcohol is legal, my friends? Do a little deep dive into this. Alcohol is legal because it lets people get fucked up so that they can't organize and revolt while they're not at work.
Yep.
That's why it's culturally normal to go home and drink after you go to work so that you don't unionize.
Yes.
That's what drinking's for. That's why alcohol is legal, even though it's more dangerous than like most drugs.
Yeah.
And watch Jesse Waters Primetime.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click
and
here.
Let me see. Let me play his last little stupid thing.
Yeah. His stupid little piece of shit. The business of America is business.
And then go home, have a drink, and watch Jesse Waters.
Oh, right. He said, go to work, stop complaining. He's paid to complain. Jesse Waters, you were paid to complain. You're paid an exorbitant amount of money to work for like 1 hour a day complaining. And he's telling you, workers of America and the world, specifically America in this case, he's telling you, workers of America, that you should just fucking keep eating shit.
Work yourself to the bone and then get fucked up, guys.
Yeah. Also, again, like I always bring up in these things, when people shit on workers, employers steal more from people than all the petty crime in America combined. Like 3 times as much is stolen via wage theft and tip theft and all this shit.
No.
So maybe
it's the brown people.
Maybe Americans would be more excited about working on the companies if the companies weren't all so corrupt and treated their workers like shit. Like maybe under a market socialist system where people had their basic needs decommodified and they would therefore have the negotiating power to only take a job when that job really seemed like it was a good job worth doing.
And you know what? You know what happens when people like their jobs? They do a good job.
Yep. Great things get accomplished.
Yeah. Well,
Or you can just, pressure, you can just coerce people into working with the threat of death by poverty, and everyone will be mad all the time.
And then they can go home and have a drink.
Right, but then they can go home and have a drink, so it's all okay.
Right.
Yeah.
You should make up a drinking game.
Indeed.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe
Hey, Sean Hannity.
to Fox News.
Fuck you, run hell.
Sean Hannity here.